Factsverse presents Gilligan's Island star gave the crew a little extra. Gilligan's Island was a 30-minute comedy that ran for 3 seasons. It was about a group of castaways trying to get off a deserted island, and they couldn't have been more different. The show's last episode aired on April 17, 1967, which was a massive disappointment to the public. If you think you know everything about Gilligan's Island, think again. We got a few things that you probably didn't know about the show that was so popular in the 60s. Before we get into our video, jump down to the comments and let us know what is your favorite episode of Gilligan's Island. Or, if you're a guy, which is it, Ginger or Marianne? I'm a Marianne guy, all the way. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. Natalie Schafer was the actress who played Mrs. Lovey Howell. She accepted the role because she would get a free trip to Hawaii to film the pilot. This was a bit strange because she was already a millionaire and could have afforded the trip on her own. Natalie had no children, so she left her fortune to her poodle. When the dog died, the money was donated to the Motion Picture and Television Fund. She also left some of her wealth to Dawn Wells, the actress who played Marianne. Dawn took care of Natalie while she was fighting breast cancer. Before the show premiered, the producers decided to replace the characters that ranked low with the audience. These included John Gabriel, who played the professor, Kit Smythe, who played a high school science teacher named Ginger, and Nancy McCarthy, who played Bunny, a secretary. When they replaced the actress who played Ginger, they decided to make her a movie star instead. They decided to make Bunny the kind-hearted Marianne. Raquel Welch was almost chosen for the role of Marianne, but they decided that she didn't have the girl-next-door quality to play the part. That ended up going to Dawn Wells, who was perfect for the role. The show's inspiration came from a New York University professor who taught public speaking. He asked the class to write a 1-minute speech answering the questions, if you were stranded on a desert island, what item would you want to have the most? Well, the show's creator, Sherwood Schwartz, was in the class, and that question stuck with him for years. It got his college class speaking about it, so he decided to pitch a show about a group of people with completely different personalities being stranded together on an island. And then Gilligan's Island was born. Speaking of the main character, Gilligan, his first name was actually never mentioned on the show. Gilligan is his last name. Bob Denver, the actor who played Gilligan, insisted that Gilligan was the character's first name. Sherwood Schwartz says no, his real name is Willie Gilligan, even though it was never mentioned on the show. Sherwood and Bob argued about this quite often, and Bob refused to believe that Willie was his character's first name. Natalie Schafer was in her 60s when the show filmed. She was one of the only female cast members to do her own stunts. She jumped in the lagoon or jumped into the fake quicksand often. In 1965, she interviewed with Let's Be Beautiful columnist Arlene Dahl and said that swimming and a special ice cream diet kept her in good shape. While on a diet, she ate only a quart of ice cream a day. She also swam naked in her backyard pool. While on her diet and exercise plan, Natalie lost 3 pounds in 5 days. I might have to go out and buy myself some Rocky Road. Jim Backus was the actor who played Thurston Howell III. In Dawn Wells' book, What Would Mary Ann Do? Guide to Life, she wrote about a lunch with Jim Backus. Jim had invited Dawn and Natalie to lunch, and when the check arrived, he realized that he forgot his wallet. Before the cast left for the summer break, they had a wrap party. During the party, Natalie gave Jim a bill for $300. That was the amount he owed for the meals that he didn't pay for. Jim finally paid what he owed. The opening credits of the first season end with the lyrics, "The Movie Star," and a photo of Ginger that had the words, "and also starring Tina Louise as Ginger," at the bottom of the screen. The theme song ended with "and the rest," but didn't include any other names. This was because Tina's contract stated that nobody else would follow her name in the credits. This meant that Dawn Wells and Russell Johnson weren't in the opening credits. During Season 2, Bob Denver told the producers that they needed to be added in the opening credits since their characters were equally as important as the others. Bob Denver once did an interview with TV Guide for the January 23, 1965 edition. During the interview, he said that the cast didn't get along well with Tina Louise. He didn't say why the other cast members didn't get along with her, but only that she ignored them. Between scenes, while the cast was talking and joking around, Tina would be off by herself. Most believed that was because Tina was told by her agent that she would be the star of the show. When Bob was asked to pose for pictures with Tina, he refused. During the first season of the show, the Coast Guard got some pretty strange telegrams from fans. These people believe the cast really was stranded on a desert island. Sherwood Schwartz also got some bizarre letters. He received one that read, "For several weeks now, we have seen American citizens stranded on some Pacific Pacific Island. We spend millions in foreign aid. Why can't we send one U.S. destroyer to rescue those people before they starve to death?" I'm guessing it was just a joke. I mean, otherwise, how could these people not know that it was a show? Dawn Wells is said to have received around 5,000 fan letters every week. She says some of the letters got really creepy, too. One fan wrote that it was their anniversary because he'd been writing to her for 35 years. She says that some men let their imagination take over and they really believed that they had a relationship with Dawn. There was a time when Bob Denver almost lost his life while filming. In the scene, Gilligan was supposed to stack furniture in the Howells' hut to keep a lion out. In the middle of the scene, the lion jumped at Bob. His reaction was to karate chop the lion. When the lion jumped off the twin beds that it was standing on, they split. The trainer had to attack the lion in mid-air and the trainer had claw marks all over him. Bob was so scared that his hair was standing on end. TV shows can't be perfect all the time, and there were some bloopers in the show, and if you look closely, you might see them because they ended up in the episodes. In the episode titled "They're Off and Running," Bob Denver forgot to take his wedding ring off. In The Friendly Passenger, you can see buildings over the trees of the lagoon, which was likely the Los Angeles skyline. One of the biggest blunders was during the opening credits. You can see the SS Minnow leaving port with 8 people on board. The theme song says that only 5 people set that day. Alan Hale Jr. was the actor who played the skipper, and during a scene he was supposed to fall from a coconut tree and land on a crash pad. He missed the pad and broke his arm, but didn't say anything. He didn't want his broken arm to disrupt filming. He had a lot to do with his arm too while it was broken, like hauling coconuts. It was weeks before he had his arm checked out and treated. This Gilligan's Island star gave the crew a little extra. It was actually a lot extra because he never wanted to stop filming, and the crew didn't even know what was going on. Tina Louise has said numerous times that she did not like playing the character of Ginger, even though she was perfect for the role. When Tina decided to call it quits, Judith Baldwin took over. She played Ginger in the TV movie Rescue from Gilligan's Island and the follow-up to that, The Castaways on Gilligan's Island. In another TV movie, The Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island, Constance Forsland played Ginger. In the 1974 animated show The New Adventures of Gilligan, Jayne Webb voiced Ginger. In the 1982 cartoon Gilligan's Planet, Dawn Wells voiced both Mary Ann and Ginger. Natalie was not truthful about her age while filming the show. She was actually a decade older than her husband on the show, played by Jim Backus. Natalie looked really good for her age. One way she managed to cover up her age was listed in her contract. She didn't want any close-up shots to prevent people from seeing her wrinkles. Tina Louise says the show destroyed her career, even though she was a successful actress long after the show ended. Today, she lives in New York City and she's a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and Actors Studio. She also does a lot of work with child literacy. Part of the proceeds from her 2007 book, When I Grow Up, went to literacy programs. She's also been volunteering at local public schools since 1996. Fans have always believed that the skipper's real name is just Skipper. Well, no, that's just the title. It's kind of like saying he's the captain. His real name was revealed only once during the show. It was in the very first episode that aired in 1964. During that episode, it was revealed that his real name was Jonas Grumby. Since then, it was never mentioned again. In the 2003 novel Gilligan's Wake, the skipper was given a dark backstory, and supposedly he served with Quentin McHale from TV's McHale's Navy. Jayne Mansfield was a gorgeous and glamorous woman. When Gilligan's Island was recasting, her career was in decline. When it was decided that Ginger would be a movie star rather than a school secretary, the producers thought of Jayne Mansfield. Jayne's third husband told her not to take the role, and so she didn't. Instead, she took small parts in film and made appearances at nightclubs. A few years later, she died in a car accident on her way to do a television interview. She was just 34 years old. Had she took the role of Ginger, she might not have been on the road that day. If you watch the show, you know that underneath the skipper's rough exterior, there was a soft underneath, and I'm not talking about the belly. He often called Gilligan Little Buddy, but the writers didn't create that nickname. Sherwood would occasionally hear Alan Hale talking to the cast and crew off-set saying Little Buddy to them. Well, he wrote that into the show. Alan used the nickname in another show, too. In a 1962 episode of The Andy Griffith Show titled The Farmer Takes a Wife, Hale played a farmer named Big Jeff Pruitt that he called Barney his little buddy. Do you know of any other Gilligan's Island facts we could have included? Tell them to us in the comments below, and subscribe for more.